Well, we did the stone picking job, so I don't know why he gave me a trailer. There's hardly any stones in there. Anyway, 100% complete. We can get the payment for that. It's only going to be $4,500, so not bad. There are no other jobs available, I don't think. But that gives us what 15,000 now. Looking pretty good. Not really. Now, where's my tractor? Oh, yeah, my tractor. I'm considering selling it. I'm not sure what to do. I've repaired it, and I will get about 6,500, which is 1,000 less than I paid, which isn't too bad, considering the swamp we've been in with it. But I'm undecided, because I'm still going to be short of cash. I can get a tractor for, I think it was 12 and a half. Let's have a look. Well, there's no jobs. I'm not taking them. They're not worth it. Just for a dozen logs. And I get penalised more than I get paid out if I chop the wrong tree. So, no, thank you. But yeah, I think the tractor is about 13 and a half with a front loader. Which I really want to get into. If I want to do logging, I'm going to need a tractor that can pull a load, that has a front loader attachment, and more horsepower, obviously, which I can get for 13 and a half, and then I've got to add up the rest of the costs. I think I'll be left with like a couple of $100 if I do that. So it's a big decision. I can make the money by selling logs, and I've got a lot of trees to clear. So it's an option. I'm going to sit back with a cup of tea and have a think about this before I jump back on. But I hope you enjoyed the montage at the start. I didn't want to bore you with a whole field of me just doing that. So I'm going to enjoy the sunshine. At least it's not raining today. And have a think about what our next step is. But I still have to buy a chainsaw, and they're $1,000 as well, because I've only got the axe and they won't chop the elms. The American elm or whatever it's called, the trees. So yeah, weigh up my options, spend all my money, or just keep what we got and work hard. Like, I just wish some blooming more contracts would come through. Never mind. Well, I'll see you in a bit once I've mulled this over anyway. And we did it. I bit the bullet. Sold Rusty. Goodbye, Rusty. Got 6.5 for that. Bought me a John Deere 1630. 70 horsepower with a front loader. And some grapples. A chainsaw. And a trailer. So we're set to do some logging now. I went onto ModHub while I was off and had a look. And that one was, I think, $1,500, $2,000, I think. So all up, not too bad. Cost me $1,350 for the tractor and the front loader attachment, and then the front loader and tool cost me about $4,000. So we actually came out with a couple of grand spare cash. Well, pocket change, I guess. I might as well bring these back to the yard while I've got a trailer here. Save me having to stress about it. So we can get into some logging. I do have a tree that is stuck in a tree, believe it or not. A tree in a tree. Cut the pine down and it landed in the elm. So I have to cut the elm down, but I couldn't do that with an axe. Wouldn't let me. So we've got to cut down that elm tree so we can get our pine. And I'm not looking forward to that, because the elm trees are a pain in the butt. But they need to be done. It needs to get done so I can get some money. And I actually think that money-wise, it's actually pretty good for wood at the moment. So we'll get into that and get some cash. Hopefully we can get some money that'll pay back for some of this. We won't get it all back in this episode anyway, but we should get most of, well, half of it maybe. But yeah, so I'll head back to the yard and we'll get stuck in and I'll see you there. Right, here we are, and these are the trees I've got to get into. As you can see, my pine tree is stuck up the top there. I've got to cut this big, thick... It's a shame, really. It's a nice looking tree. But, it's going to be a bit of a nuisance. See, there's the stump there. So I've cut the pine, and I didn't cut it the right way. Obviously, it fell into the branches. So I'm going to fell this and try and trim it up and rescue that pine. Poor thing. And get some of that loaded up. So I don't know how pretty this is going to be. I do remember these type of trees are a pain in the butt. I remember when I was on Avon Valley in 22, I think it was. I was cutting these trees down and it was diabolical. I ended up just jumping over and doing the pines instead. Unless you like this sort of thing. I don't. Trimming down the branches and getting caught up in it, it's just a mess. And the physics in this game isn't the greatest either, I don't think. It wasn't in 22, you'd have branches sticking out of the ground and you couldn't figure out where they were coming from. But look how thick this trunk is, it's taken an age to get through it. No wonder I couldn't cut it with the axe. So I'll show you a little bit of me doing some work. And oh joy. Maybe I won't, because this is going to be a messy job. Jeez, what the... Where are we? There we are. Yeah, what am I going to do with that? I could trim it down from that end, I guess, but... It's such a mess with all the bushes. I might have to get the paint tool out, spend some money and paint the terrain. Just because it's hard to see what I'm doing. I'll try and trim this and see if I can get them to both fall down. I'm not sure how much success I'm going to have loading up this tree. Like I said, I've experienced it before. That was on the old game, so let's see how improved it is in this FS25. Whoa. Well, we have movement. We'll keep going, I guess, and cut some more down. Just let it slide back this way a bit. That's the plan. We'll see if it works or not. It's a thick tree. Don't know if you guys like me cutting trees down, but they're just not really entertaining footage. Like, some of you might like it, but I don't think it makes great footage. Oh joy, this is going to be fun, isn't it? I don't even know what's going to happen. I haven't even tested the tractor out with the grabs yet. But we could try it eventually anyway. But it should be okay. It's a 70 horsepower tractor. It's got a bit of pulling weight to it. So it should be pretty good. It's a lot better than Rusty was, that's for sure. If you're wondering who Rusty was, it was the old John Deere. No, that ain't going to budge, is it? Try again, go. Hardly. I was hoping it would just kind of spit them out, but never mind. I'll have to get back into cutting, I suppose. Not my favourite job. Just cut the engine by mistake. Rolling into the bog. It's not my favourite job, as I was saying. One of my least favourite, actually, but it is good money, so I've got to do the grind to get the cash. I'm not sure what our plan is. I do want to do some silage work, but that's a bit pricey. We've got a lot of grass we can mow. Getting a mower is not too bad. It's picking the grass up, that's a nuisance. Well, costly. So I've got a few mods on that I've downloaded, so I'll have a look at them once we do the trees anyway. It's not working how I thought it would. But yeah, I'll see when I've done this, because this is messy. Hang on. Right, you will be glad you did not watch that, because it was one hell of a mess. Took me an hour, I think, to clear all that. I've got the pine on the trailer with a couple of bits of the elm. Not very cooperative picking up with the grabs, with the twisted branches and that, but the pine was perfect, not a problem. I didn't cut them to 6 metre lengths, I just cut them to whatever I could to get to it, because it was tangled up in that tree. But let's have a look at our cash when we get to this, I guess a sawmill, and see what we get. It'd be good if we could pay for at least one of our tools. We should easily pay for the trailer, hopefully. Like I said, the price is pretty good, so we'll get some cash back up. We won't get back to where we were at the start, but we'll get there. I'm thinking whether we go chickens next, silage, or another field. I'm not sure. Chickens would be nice low maintenance. Silage would be good money, but expensive to get started. And another field, well, we don't really have the area for it, unless we go along the, whoops, sorry buddy, I crashed into your logs. That's me. Is that my fault? What's going on? Oh, there we go. Yeah, we don't really have the space for another field. I'd love to plough another field, but we're not going to be able to do much going up and down that hill. See how much we get for this, eh? Place your bets, folks. What do you reckon we're going to get for that trailer load? Well, it's not even a full trailer load. I could have loaded more up, but it's not too bad. $4,500 for that. I'll take it. We got to. Oh, they must just be outside the area, are they? Okay. Hold on then. So we got 4.5 from that. I don't think we'll get much for this one. What a nightmare. I'm getting stuck on everything. Look up. There we go. Another grand from that. Not bad. Or just shy of another 1,000. So there's about $5,500 there for all that. That's not too shabby at all. It was worth it. We still got to go clear up that elm. I've left a lot of it on the ground. It's not very cooperative. So, yeah, I'll head back to the yard and get stuck into that. I'll show you around what I've done anyway, so I'll see you back over there. So this is where we're at. It's a bit of a mess. This thing is so stupid. Eventually it's got to be cleared, so I'm just going to try and do my best to trim it down. It's getting stuck on everything. I hate it. I was so close to rage quitting before because the physics in this game, I don't understand it. I had a log that was spinning on its end. There was nothing touching it. I don't know what was going on. I didn't record it though. You know, I haven't been recording much of my footage of cutting the trees because it's quite boring and dark, and I get caught up in bushes, and I don't think you guys will enjoy it, but I'll give you a little taste of what I've been doing anyway. Just trying to trim it down to get the pieces off. I mean, where's that piece even coming from? Look at it. I should never have touched this tree. What I'm thinking now, and I know hindsight's 2020, that I should have maybe climbed up the front loader I got and maybe just trim the branches down of this elm to get the pine out. But you live and you learn, I suppose, don't you? Maybe I'll do that next time if it happens. I hope it doesn't happen again. Ow, that hit me on the head. But I've also been looking at other land. There's a bunch of trees up on, not far from us really, and they're nice. That's like a little cluster of pines in a circle, which I wanted to get into, but it's going to cost like $190,000 to buy the land, so we're just shy of that really, aren't we? Just a little bit. But yeah, tedious job, cutting this elm. I like the pines, they're straightforward, nice and easy. This is Elmageddon. God, why did I do this? Right, we've cleared up most of it. A lot of it is not cooperating at all. But, you know, I've got to do it. It's not going to get done itself. I think I'm going to try those deadwood in the bog there. And there's a couple of pine around that I can chop down. Hopefully I can get a clear cut on them and they don't fall into another tree like this one did. Yeah, and there's still no contracts coming up, still the same 2 contracts. And they're not really worth it. It's just I mean, $2,000 by the time I pay the lease. It's only going to be like $1,600, I think. So it's just not, doesn't seem worth it. There's still a lot of wood clumped around on the ground, cluttered, and that's terrible. But I just want the money. We're not going to get a heck of a lot for this, I don't think. There's still a few bits over here to pick up. There are little bits around that I can pick up by hand, so I'll probably end up doing that and clearing it, putting it into a pile somewhere for another day. So I'm going to go deliver this load, and it's a slow, arduous journey up this hill. I'll show you in a minute. You can already see that it's struggling here. There isn't any way around it really. It's all, we got to go uphill, no matter which way we go. But she struggles, but she gets up there. It drops down to about 9 kilometers an hour, and she gets up there. So this is a good buy. I'm glad I bought this tractor. It's doing the job. There we go. We're 6 kilometers, 7. Oh god. Yeah, it's painful. It reminds me of watching Daggerwin's survival series, I think it was, on FS22 that he did in Calmlands, I think. This was him dragging wood up to the sawmill. Anyway, I'll see you at the yard when we sell it. Right, we are here. That should all be in there now. Not pretty, is it? Take your bets. What do you reckon I'm going to get for this one? Not bad. It's about 3,500 for that load. So all up, we made about 8,500, 9,000. Not too shabby. We're doing really good. We made our money back on the trailer and the tools that we got, the front loader. Yeah. I'll see you back at the yard. It's a bit of a mess here. I'll tidy this up off camera, hopefully, if I can be bothered. But, yeah, I want to get into these... Where's my other bag gone? I'm sure I had 3 bags. Oh, how did you get in the reeds there? I must have bumped it with my tractor or something. Yeah, I want to get into cutting some of these down, but I don't know how far I can go. And I mean, I can take this one down. That's not a problem. Just make sure I chop it the right way down so it falls straight across that way. I'm not sure how much money these are worth. And there's another pine I want to grab as well. I've seen just in the bush, in the forest over there. Forest? I don't know. The woods. There we go. And these are the trees I love. They're nice and simple. Those elm trees, ugh, and I didn't even get that much money, for it. Mind you, I've still got a bunch of wood left to load up. But they're just awkward and I can't really grab them properly. So I might just push them off to a corner somewhere and sort it out when I've got the appropriate tool for it. I mean, the grab's good, but for some of that wood it just doesn't want to cooperate. So man, looking good. We've got that, we can cut that to size. I don't know how far out I can go. How far out before I have to swim? We're about waist deep here. I don't think the tractor, don't think the tractor will come this far without it flooding and saying I can't do anything and it needs resetting. I do want to get these trees though. Maybe I just have to figure out a way. Maybe I can get them with a crane or something at some stage. Anyway, we'll get the trailer over and we can start loading that tree up, chop it up and load it up. Be nice and easy. I was supposed to mention too, that job that was up on the last episode from Noah. For $0 to plant seeds in the forest. I had a word to him and he said it wasn't a job, he just wanted to get my attention and have a chat to me. So I said I'd tee up some time once I've done some logging and I'd go and have a talk to him. So I don't know what he's got to talk about and why he had to be so so sneaky about it and offer me a job just to have a conversation. Who knows what's going on. But yeah, looking at the tractor in the water, I'm just testing it. I don't really want to get it stuck in there. Let's chop this tree up into sections, and I'll do my best to get close to 6 meters. I know that's the go-to length, but I don't ever take measure, so we'll just do what we can. Yeah, it was pretty close. So yeah, we'll have a chat to Noah at some stage, if I can catch up with him, and see what he's got going on in his little brain, why he wanted to be so cloak and dagger about it. I don't know. Something sounds off, but we'll figure that out when we get to it. I told him I got all this work to do first. These trees cut and sold and get some money in, because I do want to do some other stuff around our area. Maybe we do silage. I know it's a good money maker. It's very expensive to get into though, and I can't find a cheap forage wagon anywhere. So maybe I just have to do it with a bucket, pick up the grass with a bucket. I don't know. We could do baling, but that's a whole nother expense there. Although there are some cheap-ish balers and mods on Mod Hub, so if you guys got some ideas or some suggestions, I am on console by the way, so I don't suggest PC only mods. Yeah, I think silage is probably the way to go. We've got a ton of grass to mow. We could probably put a silo down somewhere, bunker if you will. We've got room around the front of these trees. But yeah, I just want something that's going to keep us going, keep us working, because there's no contracts. Contracts are terrible at the moment. I haven't had anything come through since that stone job I did earlier, the stone picking. And that was an easy job really for $4,500. So, but I don't know. I think silage is probably the answer. Do some mowing. I mean, it's just picking it up though. It's going to be tedious, isn't it? And then I know this game something else will go wrong. I just know it. Or we get some chickens, and but then we're going to have a field for their feed. What the heck happened there? Why did that spin around so much? Back over there. Yeah, we get some chickens, or maybe we could do some sheep actually if we got the grass. Get a mower. Again, we've got to pick the grass up though. We could try to bale it. I've got some ideas for a baler. That's a mod. Yeah, I let me do some investigating. I'll have a look on my other map and make sure that they actually work. Excuse me. Because that's our option. We don't really have room for another field. We could put another garden or a greenhouse in maybe. I mean, I'm saying all this and I'm only sitting on $11,000, $12,000. But yeah, once I load this up, and there is another tree I want to fell. Seen it in the bush over there. So we'll get that chopped down as well and see where we are for time. It's been one of those days. I've spent hours chopping wood today. And I don't really feel like, even though we got roughly $9,000, I just don't feel like it was worth it. It will be worth it when I get into it. I just leave these elms alone. They are the worst. I'm going to go on about it again. They are the absolute worst. That's why I call it Elmageddon. Will come from this side, I think. So yeah, you can chuck your suggestions down below, what direction you want to go. Silage, sheep, chickens, another garden, make another field somewhere. I don't know, I'm trying to keep this going, but there isn't a lot of room to work with. Field prices aren't exactly cheap. That plot with the trees I was talking about that I had a look at, 190,000. We are way off that. We're going to have to do a lot more trees to get there. And I just wish these contracts would come through. Push the bag. That was probably what happened before, Sean. Yeah, anyway. Loading this up. I'm not going to sell this load today. I'm going to try and get at least 2 or 3 trees on here this time, now that I've got a better grasp of things. Make sure I don't... Earlier on I got me blimmin' the forks somehow strapped to the trailer, even though there was no strap on it. It was bizarre. It was like floating in midair. So I'm a bit cautious when I'm using those straps and that now. Oops, I've got to look through the bush now. I may go through with the paint tool and get rid of some of these bushes too at some stage. Yeah, I don't know what to do. Sheep, chickens, silage, or another field or some gardens. Gardens is nice passive income. We've got about 6 or 7 pallets of spinach to sell. So I'll get on to that next month, I think, when we got a whole lot more that'll come through. And October is the best price for it. I think it's only like $500 each pallet, but to make that about, what's that? It should be about 12 to 15 pallets maybe. So it's a decent enough income just to top us up a bit, and I just pray those contracts come through. Otherwise we're going to be twiddling our thumbs on the farm, thinking of things to do. Well, yeah, I call this a farm, I guess it is. But yeah, I do want to do some animals, like I said, at some stage, but I don't know if that's yet. I'd have to buy the feed for the chickens. I guess I could put a garden down and grow some grain in there. That's an option, which feels a little cheaty to me. But again, we got to do what we got to do. That's that tree loaded up anyway, and it's looking good. Should get some decent money for that. I should have probably trimmed that, but should be alright. I'll trim it later. We'll have a look at some other trees around. You can see them scattered in the woods over there. There's another one here we can cut. Deadwood. There's a pine up here. I think I can fell that through the trees and not have it get caught up. Yeah, this will be a good tree to do. So if I can just line this up that way. Fingers crossed we get this. It should fall. Yeah, it should fall nicely. Timber! Beauty. Yeah, this one. These are the trees I'm going to focus on. I wanted to clear all that land because it is nice and flat. Like, it looks really nice inside those trees. Nice and flat, nice little area for a field. But it's a whole lot of work, and I don't know if I want to cut all those elms and stuff down. Pain in the butt. Get up there. There we go. So yeah, I'll chop this up off camera in my time and load it up, and I'll try and get a couple more trees done in the meantime as well. Let's have a look. There is this pine over here. We've got these deadwoods. This one here I could probably chop down. So that's 1. We've got 1 on the other side. That's 2. Over that way. 3 maybe. I don't know about that one. It's probably in deep water. But this pine here. So that's another tree that I might get into, if I can chop it down without smashing my container. And there is another one in here, but it looks a little crowded. I don't know if I want to risk it. Although, if I do chop it down and it gets stuck, I could just use the front loader and climb up it and trim some branches to set it free. But we'll see. But that's about it for the day, really. Got a whole heap of mess here. I did use the paint tool, you can see, because I couldn't see through the bushes. See what I mean? There's a branch just sticking up there. Where is that? Did we get it? Ah, we got it. Bizarre. I tell you, the physics in this game is crazy. Excuse me. And we got a log that's just floating. Crazy. Oh, good. It's looking good. I mean, my idea of cleaning this out and making a field of it, that's on the back burner. Let's look at this stuff. It's just crazy. I just don't think it's worthwhile chopping those down. It's more time, more hassle, more stress, less money. Job-wise, nothing. The same old jobs. Katie and Noah have their jobs. Not worth the hassle for those either. So we're sitting nicely on about 11,000. Could be better, I suppose, but it is what it is. But thank you for joining me on this episode. It wasn't fantastic, but we got our money back for the trailer and stuff. So thanks heaps, guys. I'll see you next time. Take care.